Welcome again to episode 24 of Burnout Revenge. And as you can imagine right now, I am pretty disgusted with how things have already happened. Because I was trying to get through an Eliminator event in first place, and yet basically the whole thing has just been trying to break me. This is nothing wrong with the game, it's just one event in particular that is just really trying to be a fly in the ointment. And is basically just trying to eat all of that ointment. So we're going to try again, and we are going to make damn sure that we actually win it this time. So we've got 2 Eliminators in Eternal City, and we've got a traffic attack at White Mountain. I'll do that in a bit. I might as well get through these 2 Eliminators because, well, I figured why not. And also because there is one car that we haven't used yet. The Modified M-Type. And you know what? We'll drive this thing in grey. I think I'll probably just give it one full circle round to try and see if I can get thumbnail evidence of this thing or something. Okay, that's the loop. Let's now go and race. Okay, let's go. Right. Basically what I have to do this time is win. I know I can get there. I just need to somehow make sure that I basically mimic whatever the AI does. And I need to make sure that whatever it takes, I follow their lead. Because that's probably the best way of how I am going to win this. To basically mimic what they do, take whatever shortcuts I know I can take, and then just basically continue mimicking them until I actually win. I have no idea how I squeezed through there, but I somehow did. I can also guarantee a crash is coming sooner or later. This is not going to be... Yo, I got 4-way payback. It really does work, as I proved in the previous episode. Anyway, I just need to somehow stay out of trouble long enough to actually get the win. That's what I have to do. I have to somehow stay out of what's effectively a lava pit. And what do you know, it was the Revenge Racer that took me out. Okay. Okay, asshole. Prepare to die. Oh, and I think I got through there somehow, unscathed. I think I did survive that one. Yeah, that's definitely a special car I see there. But I don't know which one that is. But either way, I am still leading, so I have to make sure I keep it that way somehow. I know that's probably not going to be the case, but I am definitely going to try and make sure that I hold on to my lead. Plus, with the 6th generation version of this game compared to the 7th generation version, how did I get through there? How the fuck did I manage to slot through those 2 archers without hitting either of them? That honestly had to be quite literally the save of the year in terms of how I survived that. Okay. After having at least half a dozen attempts of great frustration to try and beat that, I actually did beat the bitch. And on this attempt at recording, I just needed to make sure I was making less mistakes than the AI. That was how I did it. Okay, next. And we unlock nothing. Oh well. Let's now get through the long eliminator. So we've already used that. This time we'll use... yeah, we'll use the Black Elite Racer again. Why not? Okay, second eliminator of the episode, as this time we're doing the long version. Can we survive it? Only time will tell. But one thing I know for sure is we are in for one shitload of a battle. Okay, I'm really starting to think that not only is the AI being a dick, but I feel like just this event in general is just being a genuine dick. Wait, did I actually wreck the guy who wrecked me? I would honestly be very surprised if I did. I only got a single payback that time. You know what? I'm not gonna say anything. Also, as soon as I do get done with this event, my immediate response is gonna be... basically... fuck this event. Because this eliminator has been nothing but pain to misery. Especially with just how psychotically unpredictable this event has been for the most. I'm so glad I got the double. Or else I would have been upset. As a matter of fact, this event has already made me upset. And I am really not happy with the fact that it's either certain things in this event that keep cutting me off, or basically just the AI that cut me off. Every goddamn time, I try to stay out of trouble, trouble always has to find me. It always finds me somehow. It's like I said before, it's literally like you're trying to dodge a heat-seeking missile. It's basically either a very receptive boomerang or a heat-seeking missile. You just cannot avoid the chaos as soon as it happens. As soon as it's there, that's it. You're basically in the shit. And I also get a new car unlocked as well. And you know what? I think that comes at a good time as well. Because I'll probably use that for the traffic attack. Okay, on to the next one. You know what? I'm gonna say it. I hate Eternal City in this game. Eternal City in this game, especially with faster cars, it is a pain in the ass. I actually hate Eternal City. Especially with all the challenges it has. And the other two events are not unlocked yet. And that win a race without crashing challenge, that's probably not going to be until probably very late on in the game. I think I've actually learned to hate Eternal City at this point. And now we've got the custom M-Type GT. And I think this time, yeah, we'll drive this thing in yellow for the traffic attack. Then probably use a different colour for our next event. We'll do that. Okay, I think if there are 2 courses in this game that I honestly really hate driving at full speed. One of them I would say is Eternal City, and the other one I think is probably White Mountain. So literally the 2 European-based courses in this game. In terms of actually meeting their challenges, I actually hate both of them. You know, if there are 2 courses in this game that I honestly dislike, one of them I think is Eternal City, and the other one that I strongly dislike is this one, White Mountain. Because the overhead part of the course is basically a death trap. And then once you get down into town, you have to navigate the traffic. It's honestly the equivalent of doing what effectively feels like the driving equivalent of Death's Row. Especially when you're trying to dodge the traffic. Like, you know you're trying to do it as much as you can, but yet, because there is just so much of it, it's impossible to avoid. It's almost like you're trying to run away from heat-seeking missiles when it comes to hitting the traffic here. Like, you can basically keep running for as long as you want, but eventually you have to admit that there is no escaping it. And that's kind of what it is here. I have honestly dug myself into a hole that I simply cannot escape from. And when I do manage to actually win a race without crashing both over here and at Eternal City, it's going to be a case of I have no fucking idea how I pulled that off. Because it really does feel like just the violence that goes on throughout this game, with the amount of just ramming and diverting that you're basically just trying to do all the goddamn time. It really does feel like you're just asking for something that essentially is the equivalent of luck. Or basically the driving equivalent of pure sheer goddamned luck. And at this point in time, that feels very true. Like, it's honestly something I want to stop, but at the same time I just simply cannot stop it. That's honestly just how painful it feels right now. Anyway, I got the gold. And I think I also got a truck as well. Or 2 trucks, I should say. Alright. Now we need to get to 800 million. Don't want to hit that truck, because I cannot hit the truck. Can I get to 1 million? That remains to be seen. if whether or not I can reach that. This is why I literally say driving around this course is basically a death trap. It's honestly just one of those courses that quite literally wants to trap you and then bleed you to death. As it is doing to me so very well at the moment. And I hate it. Yeah, that's partly the reason as to why I really hate White Mountain in this game. Because basically when you get into trouble on either of those courses, there is virtually no saving you. I don't say that about the rest of the courses, but I can definitely say to me, the most painful to navigate are definitely, I think, White Mountain and Eternal City. As in, the traffic is just pure chaotic evil. And yes, that is a cross-reference to the alignment chart, because I think that's kind of like what the traffic essentially is around White Mountain in this game. And it's honestly for that reason as to why I really do hate this and Eternal City. As in, they're basically the two courses that in some cases I put on my dislike list. Not necessarily my shit list, but definitely my dislike list. Because it's just so goddamn easy to be put in those spots you don't want to be in, and yet the game just puts you in those spots anyway. And I blow up right at the end. Still, I did get a really good score with 1.3 million, and apparently I set a new high score for Traffic Attack. I don't remember the last time I actually passed 1 million. It was a while ago, but I definitely passed 1 million at some point. It was probably before I did the crash events. Anyway, on to the next one. Okay, Traffic Attack out the way. Now let's get on with the Crash Breaker race. We don't have any new cars, so I think I'll probably just use the M-Type again. Except this time we'll race in... Sure, we'll race in purple. Why not? So we know what to do here. Basically we just have to race and rack our opponents as much as we can. Which at this point is probably the best thing I can really do. Especially since I know the possibilities of me getting a win without crashing are virtually impossible. Yeah, I knew that was coming. And the bastard tried to do it again. So glad he paid the price for it. Because if he hadn't, then I would have been upset. And I am at the back. I am no longer at the back. Now, I need to get to the front. I need to make sure that... Yeah! Revenge takedown! Let's fucking go. I'm also pretty sure that's meant to be the mock-up of Dale Jarrett's UPS Ford Taurus or something. At least I think that's what that is. In terms of the design it's supposed to represent. I was really trying to see if I could get the signature TD there. I know it's the clock tower where that happens, and I'm pretty sure that is the spot where I can get the signature. Even though I am not taking the shortcut. But either way, I am leading. So let's make sure we keep it that way. if we can. Okay, alright. Can the drifts keep my awesome rating alive? No, they cannot. Although maybe that traffic takedown actually... There was nothing I could do there. I was completely helpless. You know, one thing I will say about this game is that it does have a bit of a nasty habit when it comes to putting the player's car in the wrong places. And I think if this was an eliminator right now and not an actual race, then I would have probably restarted this event already, but since it is a race event, that's why I'm still doing it. Because we're actually racing, and we're not just trying to survive for 3 minutes to see who precisely manages to stay in, or just gets blown out of the game. And somehow I got a vertical takedown. Don't know how, but I got a vertical takedown. And I paid someone back for wrecking me. Yeah, did I mention it's going to be damn near impossible to win a race around here without crashing? Unless it's with the slowest cars possible. That's probably the only way I can really see myself winning this. And I somehow got a crash escape. Don't know how that happened, but I did. Okay. Come on. Come on. Okay, I got my revenge, TD. That was what I wanted. And the stock car takes himself out again. At least I'm pretty sure he did that to himself. I am not going to get the clock tower takedown, am I? Nope, doesn't look like it. Well, at least I tried. And it doesn't look like I'm going to be in with a shout to win either. Huh. The whole field is together. And that bastard took me out again. Well, at least I can say the field is pack racing, which means I can just as easily get back into this race as I can fall out of it. I meant to do that. You cannot say I did not mean to do that. But either way, I am out front, and that is all I care about. Okay, I'm gonna make sure I make the jump this time. And that time I do. Just to make absolutely sure that I don't miss the jump this time. I tried to see if I could get payback on someone, but it didn't work. I really tried to go for that one. Believe me, I did. And I got instant revenge. And somehow, in spite of me wrecking right at the last minute, I actually win. That was insane, but I somehow pulled it off. In spite of all my best of attempts to lose it. Again, as I said before, if there are 2 tracks in this game that I actually don't like, White Mountain is one of them, and Eternal City is the other. I think both of those courses are quite literally hell, to say the least. Okay, This time got the custom R202 GT. Which I think is ironic. So now we're back at Eternal City again for the Road Rage, and then afterwards we've got the GP event. So you know what? We're just gonna do it. And we're gonna use the car that we most recently unlocked, which is this. And we'll drive it in orange, because why not? So 17 takedowns is what we need for a gold, 13 for a silver, and 10 for a bronze. Finally, I actually got a takedown that for once worked. I still hate Eternal City though. As in, I really do physically hate Eternal City in this game. It's just completely impossible to stay out of trouble around this course, because every time you try to stay out of trouble, trouble will just find you again, and it will continue doing so until you either do manage to get through a race without somehow wrecking, or you basically do it. I had no chance. There was honestly no point in avoiding it. It was going to happen either way. If you somehow do manage to win a race around here without crashing, and you have actually succeeded in that, my main question will be how? How did you do it? Because what I have seen here so far has made me convinced in saying that this course is basically fucked straight to hell and back again. And it's honestly just doing that to me constantly. Like, it's basically just proving that I now physically hate this course. Because of just how insane it is to try and stay out of trouble. It's just not gonna happen, Chief. Staying out of trouble around here is almost like staying out of trouble around here is almost like staying out of trouble here is basically the equivalent of trying not to get strangled by a python. Basically putting a python around your neck, and then basically with it trying not to strangle you. You know that's not gonna happen, because a python will just strangle you anyway. I had no chance of avoiding that. You know what? I don't care. Fuck this event, and fuck Eternal City. I fucking hate Eternal City in this game. I really do now. There's no denying it. Eternal City, it is a fucking shithole, and I want to just get out of here now. At least we got a new car. And hopefully a car that can actually help us. Maybe. Anyway, one event to go here at Tier 8. And this time we're going to use the car we just won. the Works M-Type GT. And we are going to drive this thing... Sure, we'll drive it in red. See how we go. My hate right now for Eternal City is practically unstoppable. Especially because of how much that this course just keeps maiming me. And the fact that until I actually win it, it's not going to stop. I just want someone to tell the chaos of Eternal City to just straight up stop. And it's not gonna happen because, well, why the fuck would it happen? This course is honestly about as rotten as the Romans. And yes, I did also just make a reference to horrible histories. Because in some cases I figured it was about time. This really is about as horrible in most cases as the rotten Romans. And I feel like the only way I can really stop this from getting any more maddening than what it already has been. Huh. For once in my life, I actually set a perfect lap. I have no idea how, but I actually set a perfect lap. How the fuck did I do that? And I almost got wrecked there, but somehow the guy wound up wrecking himself instead. Because I psyched him out. I am not going to survive this second lap without crashing, I don't think. Unless I somehow get lucky. I will be amazed if I actually do manage to come out of this unscathed. That will honestly be the most surprising thing to me in the world. And yep, it's that guy again. It's that motherfucker again in the Revenge Racer. Of course, the challenge is for me to win. It's not for me to finish second, or third, or fourth, or wherever. It's for me to win. And winning is precisely what I am trying to do. Because at this point, I will honestly be upset if I don't. Okay. How did I get out of there? I've no idea how I got out of there unscathed. Oh my god. Did I actually get through a race at Eternal City without crashing? I think I just might have done. I think I just might have got away with it. Anyway, that's our first race done. I feel like at this point I should probably just say nothing, because it feels like every time I open my mouth, it just feels like the stage is immediately set for pretty much a disaster of any sort to occur. Natural, non-natural, man-made, you name it. It's pretty much all of that morphed into fucking one. And I think at this point, I am very close to quitting. Just for today. But yet somehow I haven't quit yet. Because I still think I can win. And as long as I still think I can win, that is why I will keep going. And as long as I actually keep my car intact, somehow, with probably 1 or 2 crashes here and there. And the game did not allow me to make the jump. Even though I was on the boost and could have very easily made the jump. And at this point in time, I feel like I am probably asking for too much. How I avoided that car, I will never know. I've honestly had a few very, very close near misses that somehow were not worse than they actually could have been. But I also feel like that whenever I do race at either Eternal City or at White Mountain, I feel like one way or another the game is gonna fuck with me. And oftentimes it does. Mainly Eternal City. Because I know that's where the chaos is just impossible to avoid. Especially when you consider just how much traffic there is. And unlike Burnout 3, this game does not have the option of an arcade mode. Which I will say is one thing that Burnout 3 does have, and this game doesn't. Which, when it comes to actually getting further challenges, that's where it kind of sucks. But at this point in time, I just want to try and prove that the job can be done. Okay, at least I open up with a race winner. I'm not gonna care for anything else as long as I win. That's all I care about now. Winning is all that matters. Winning 2 of these 3 races, and then I don't have to come back to this. Now we are at the other extremely painful course of this game that I have learned to hate in most cases. At least for the top section, because of that. And also because it is just so easy to just be caught up in someone else's wreck that you had no intention of causing whatsoever. But it still happens either way. And there's no way you can stop it from happening. It just quite simply happens in every way possible. And that, to be honest, is just what makes it all the more painful. I feel like before I actually do get on with those remaining challenges in trying to figure out how anyone won here without crashing, it'll have to be someone who has probably played this game more than anyone else in the world who can really answer that question. Because I am not one of those people you should be asking that question to. Because for me, my immediate response will just be luck. And that's just what it will be. It will be sheer goddamned luck that made me survive. And that's it. At least getting the triple payback is one way to assert myself. And at least the Crash Breaker does come in handy when you need it most. And the game put me in the wall, don't know why. That's just very weird. Anyway. Okay. Son of a bitch. At least I prevented the rest of the field from passing me. Although, technically speaking, the other one came by way of tripping over himself. Haha! You are not wrecking me this time. Okay. Come on. Come on. Please stay out front, please stay out front, please stay out front, please stay out front, please stay out front. Please stay out front, please stay out front. At least I got someone involved. And that's how I keep surviving. I think I'll probably have more luck on the short course in terms of actually winning a race without crashing. But even then, there are no guarantees in saying that will happen. Okay. Come on. Come on. Come on. Okay, we're doing good. We're keeping ourselves up at the front at least. Now we just have to make sure we stay there. Hopefully this time I will not be anything catastrophic. Okay, I'm staying up on this side of the road. I'm not heading down on the other side. That is practically a death sentence if I do. It's practically a cyanide injection if I head down on the other side of the road. Okay. There was nothing I could do about that truck. I'm going to be fourth, aren't I? Okay. Oh, okay, just second. You know what? Considering how painful it was for me to actually stay in that race, I will actually accept that. I mean, it was just so goddamn painful. To the point where I just want to move on and not drive here again. At least not until we get into Tier 9. That's just what I've decided at this point. Okay, we're at Motor City, so hopefully this will be easier. I hope. I can certainly say most of this has been pain for the first two races, but hopefully this is where Motor City changes that, because all in all, I like Motor City. I think Motor City is a good track compared to the other two that I think are just lingering flies in the ointment. Or at least I think they're lingering flies in the ointment. But that could just be me. Either way, I'm in front, and I hope to keep it that way. As I get shunted from behind, and the Revenge Racer goes straight into the pillar. The serial pillar, no less. And no one is approaching me for the signature TD, so I'm just gonna have to let that go. Thankfully, with GP events, you don't need a perfect score. How did I get out of there? I was completely driving blind, and yet I somehow got out of there. And I set a perfect lap. I have no idea how, though. But anyway. I am still leading, and that's all that matters. And that's all I'm going to accept at this point. I would say Motor City is probably my second favourite track in the game. I think my favourite track in the game, from what I know, I would probably say Central Route. I think Central Route is probably my favourite track, with Motor City in second. And the triple payback worked. Can I get back up to the front? Yes, I can get back up to the front and avoid all the pillars. which is what I was also asking myself to do. Now I just have to make sure I stay ahead of them. And no signature, unfortunately, but either way, I still want to try and see if I can win 2 of 3 races, because then that would put me in a good spot. And that trailer, there was no way I could avoid that. And I have probably got no way of winning this either. Unless I somehow get lucky. But I don't think that's going to happen this time. There's just not enough time left on the clock. Or there's just enough time left on the clock. How did I pull that off? That was literally a photo finish. I have no idea how I came back to win that. That was just sheer goddamned luck that gave me that one. And driver 1 goes scoreless, with me narrowly beating driver 3, driver 5 in 3rd, followed by driver 4, and then driver 2. Wow. Have no idea how I pulled that win off right at the end. Oh well, probably doesn't matter either way. We got the perfect rating, and that's all I care about. So now we are finished with Tier 8. And after 2 hours of recording, I can say, thank God we are out of Tier 8. Okay, so we get ourselves another new car, as this time we get the Works R202 GT. That actually looks really nice, to be fair. And as a result of us completing the Eternal City Challenge sheet, we get the Euro Classic LM. So I guess I will have to show that race where I won without crashing, because apparently that actually paid off. I will have to show how you do that. So apparently, in spite of my absolute hate for Eternal City at this point in the game, that's what happens when we complete a challenge seat. We get rewarded a new car. And you know what? I'm actually gonna look at this new car, because I want to see if it's available among the roster. And yes, it is. This thing is definitely based off of a Ferrari. I'm sure it is. And it's also got plenty of colour diversity as well. So something tells me I will definitely have to drive this thing. But anyway, there we go. So Tier 8 is now done. And now we have 2 tiers to go. And we've also completed one of the challenge sheets. We've also completed one of the challenge sheets as well. Which means we are now 83% complete with the game. And we've now got precisely 1,500 total takedowns flat. I did not think we were going to have that. And we've completed and golded 133 events. We've won 60 cars, and 48 challenges have now been completed as well, with 67 total revenge takedowns. And here is everything else after Tier 8. As I have checked more than 4,000 traffic vehicles. And I have been burning now for nearly 5 hours. No, correction. That's 4 hours and 19 minutes. And everything else, it is what it is. But anyway, there we go. So, the frustration of Tier 8 is now done. Hopefully Tier 9 will be less frustrating. as that is what we will be doing next up on Burnout Revenge.